As we've been reminding folks watching the proceedings, a number of our members will not be returning, are retiring, being termed out, moving on from this institution. One of those members is the Dean of the Assembly, Mike Gatto, and I'd like to call on Mr. DeBabney to begin the proceedings, which we hope will be brief. We have lots of business still before the body, before our deadline this evening. Mr. DeBabney.
Well, I will tell you, I've had a very special relationship with Mike Gatto that goes back over a decade, and I'm very honored to feel like I was someone that was able to witness his career from the ground up. He, like I, is a Bruin from UCLA. He worked for Congressman Brad Sherman. And as many of you know, I followed in his footsteps just a few years later and worked for the congressman. I was there in his campaign offices when he first started running, and a lot of people told me he didn't have a shot. And he worked tirelessly to get here. I was there on his election night at the IATSE Hall in Burbank, where he was a new father. And he's someone that I think that night went into that election as someone, an underdog, and came out and was going off to Sacramento, and now has been here 7 years. He's our dean. He's someone that I have relied on as a great reference point, not necessarily in the things he says, but in how he conducts himself on this floor. He's someone that hasn't missed a vote since 2010. Think about that. He has not missed a vote in nearly 6 years on this floor or in a committee. He's someone that I think has authored legislation that has real relevance to our community, especially mine for the film tax credit, but he doesn't take sponsored legislation. He fixes common sense problems that often seem too small or too little to deal with. But when you think about the people they've impacted, the 30,000 small business owners in our state that have a home business baking foods or goods, that make a living to help feed their family that previously couldn't, the classic car collector or enthusiast that now has a black license plate that we see prominently through our state. But you know, I'm not going to go into the endless amount of legislative accomplishments he has. Over 50 bills signed by the governor. Many of them were vetoed the first time, but he came back representing his district, knowing that that's not something that maybe would be popular or is always going to get him headlines, but he did it again, got the governor to sign it. We all have Mike Gatto stories that I know sometimes we've been frustrated with him. Sometimes we thought, why would he do that? Sometimes we wonder if we really know the real Mike Gatto, but I will tell you, I am going to truly miss Mike. I'm going to miss his professionalism. But more than anything, I'm going to miss him as someone that I can look to and say, what's Mike doing on this bill? What did Mike, ask that question in committee? He's thought-provoking on bills that I think most of us who are going to be here for 12 years will, a few years from now, realize how long it is to have been here, 7 years. And when you think about the committees he's chaired, appropriations, the first chairperson of the Privacy and Consumer Protections Committee, and now PUC. He's either really smart and understands where the big issues are going to be, or he just happens to be in the right place at the right time, because each time he took over one of those committees, there was a major situation that required his leadership. We had the Aliso Canyon gas leak right when he became the chair of PUC, and he also took over, and I think the brilliance of our former Speaker, Tony Atkins, the Committee Privacy and Consumer Protections, right at a time where that was a major issue in our news. So I just want to say, Mike, it's been an honor to serve with you. I look forward to serving with you in the future. But really, both of us still work for Congressman Sherman. Even though he stopped paying us many years ago, he has a very special gift he wants to give you. As you gave to Assemblymember Blumenfield a few years ago on this floor, before I got up here, I just want to give you this flag flown over the United States Capitol in honor of your service from 2010 until today. Thank you so much, Mike, for being a really great colleague, friend, and representative of our district. And with that, I wish you good luck.
Thank you, Mr. DeBabney. Mr. Patterson, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I've had the privilege of being Vice Chair of Utility and Commerce since I was elected and came up here. It's been a real joy. I've enjoyed every minute of it. We take on a lot of significant and challenging matters. And I just wanted to rise and thank you, Mike, personally, for the gracious and professional way in which you have invited me to be a partner, the willingness of you, your staff, to work with my staff on matters of real importance. we've had an opportunity to work together on a lot of very, very good things. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't. But I always know that whether we're in agreement or we are not, we get the opportunity to make our case, to delve into the questions necessary to be able to come to a good decision. And I just wanted you to know that I am very, very grateful to serve with you. And I wanted to just say thanks. I appreciate from the very, very beginning. Mike, I consider you a friend, and I'm grateful that I've gotten to know you, and I wish you the very, very best in what you do from here on out. And thank you for allowing me to be a part of your team at UNC and also to become your friend over time. Appreciate it.
Mr. Gatto's seatmate, Bill Dodd.
Thank you,
Assembly
Mr.
member.
Speaker and members. I don't know what then Speaker Atkins was thinking when she paired me up with Mike. When I showed up here, I didn't know who in the heck he was. And for the first 2 weeks, he didn't even talk to me. Having said that, I still don't know if his name is Gatto or Gatto. Well, maybe you can answer that in your remarks, please. But seriously, I do know why she paired me with Mike, because I've learned so much on the floor. Him being the dean of the assembly, taking every single vote, kind of getting in his head a little bit about what's going on the floor, his knowledge, legal, procedural. It's just really been a great trip for me. And also we've had, I always am a believer in having a good time at everything I do. And I've just had nothing but a great time and a great experience being next to my seatmate, Mike Gatto. Thank you.
Mr. Linder, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I'm very proud to call both the members from Congressman Sherman's team, former team, friends of mine. Clearly you weren't the tallest of the two, but you're definitely the smarter of the two. Sorry, that's getting back for that comment yesterday. I remember early on in our friendship. I listened to podcasts, and I remember I was listening to Adam Carolla podcast, and all of a sudden I hear Adam Carolla go, "Hey, Assembly Member Mike Gatto's here with a certificate." And I just remember thinking, man, this guy would do anything to get in front of a microphone or a camera, And I've gotten to know Assemblymember Gatto very well, and come to find out it's very, very true. In fact, he's even helped me get in front of a camera a couple times. But one thing, as skilled as he is about getting on camera, he's also a master at staying off camera. I don't know if you'll notice, it's just kind of an insider thing that happens, but sometimes when I'm over here presenting a bill, you'll see me kind of stumble a little bit, and that's because Gatto knows exactly right where you can be out of frame of the camera, and he knows exactly where to stand, and he'll stare at me and he'll go, oh, say, can you? Or he'll start to just do anything he could to get me messed up, and sure enough, it works every time. So he's a little bit of a jokester. We have a lot of fun together. Glad to call you my friend, and I know you'll do great things in your next endeavor. So it's an honor to remember the good times with you.
Ms. Gaines.
Mike Gatto. I think, Mike, that I know that I feel more confident after you speak on many of the bills. I think you have a great talent in articulating and unraveling difficult and complicated bills. But one thing that I've noticed is when someone talks against your bill, you're actually shocked. So what I've noticed, here's a typical Mike Gatto close. I think some of our members are confused about the intentions of my bill. Let me tell you and articulate exactly what this bill does and what this bill doesn't do. So I appreciate that, Mike. It makes it easy for us. You've been a strong and courageous leader. I can speak for Ted and his staff and his team have always appreciated how gracious you are to work with and your passions and how we can share a lot of the same passions, especially on drone bills and how you work together so well on that. But you've always been a strong, courageous leader. I know that you have experienced hardship in the last 7 years. And our hearts were broken for you, but you were never shaken. And like it was said earlier, you never missed a vote. You never missed a day. You always show up. So we can always count on you to be a solid member here. One time, I know when you spoke on an especially emotionally charged bill that we both cared deeply about, you articulated your position and mine so well. I was just in awe. You truly do have a silver tongue. And all these wonderful things, well, whenever your mic goes up, we do all stop and listen because you have that recognizable voice of controlled passion. So all these great things that everybody's saying about you, I still say that you married up. And you are married to a gracious and beautiful wife, Danielle, and your children are precious. And we've enjoyed so much spending time with you and your family. Good luck to you, and we're excited about your future, Mike. God bless.
Mr. Wagner, you are recognized.
Beth Gaines speaking in support of Mike Gatto really is proof that I certainly messed her up that first day, didn't I? Now, Mike, I've been accused of speaking way too long and way too flowery, and I promise that will not happen here. Now, you've been a friend, you've been an articulate champion of your views, you have been a very impassioned and challenging debater when we've engaged, and I have improved and certainly learned a lot from that, and just want to thank you for that lesson, and thank you for the dignified way you've conducted yourself as the Dean of the Assembly. Thank you. You will be missed, and I do hope we stay in touch.
Mr. Calderon, you are recognized.
Dang, Mike, I'm impressed. You had like 3 or 4 microphones up already. You know, I've become I question Congressman Sherman's judgment by seeing who's worked for him. You know, Mr. Gatto, Mr. Dababneh, well, they can talk. They're good at talking. I don't know what else they're all that great at, but you know, I like these guys. And you know, I don't know if anybody knows the story of when I first met Mike Gatto. I don't even think he remembers the first time he met me. So we were at the Democratic Convention in 2012, and we had just taken the vote for my district to see if, you know, who would get the party endorsement. And I lost it. I was trying to block it because I didn't have the votes to get it, and I fell short by a vote. And so what I was going to try and do, and for those of you that know about this, you can go to Delegates at Large and you could just have them sign. You have to get like over 200 something signatures. It's really difficult to do. And I was with my father, and we were walking outside of the convention center. There's just all these delegates there, and one of the first people we walked out of the door and saw was Mike Gatto. And my dad goes, Mike, come here, man. I need your help. We need to get signatures for Ian. It's my son, Ian. We need to get signatures. Can you help us? He didn't know me, knew nothing about me, but because of his relationship with my father, and he knew what type of person my father was, literally, he turned around and just stood there with us, and he starts doing this. Hey, do you know Ian Calderon? Let me tell you about this guy. He's a great guy, and I think you should sign his piece of paper. And now, I don't know if they were signing because they really felt like he was, you know, convincing them that I was this great person, or they were just trying to get away from this creepy guy who kept corralling them, wouldn't let them leave. You know, we got over 100 signatures, and then we just ended up deciding it wasn't going to happen, and we let it go. But I learned who he was right then and there. He's somebody that is loyal, and he's somebody that, you know, if you're friends and you need somebody in a fight, he's a guy that's going to stand up for you, and he's never going to he's always going to have your back. He's never going to let you down, and he's never going to let you go into a fight alone. He's a good person, and I know that there are a lot of great, amazing things that are in his future, and I can't wait to see what he's going to do, and whatever I can do to be supportive, Mike, you know to always call me. But you've got a great family. Love your wife, love your kids. You're a very lucky man, and just wish you the best, my friend.
Mr. Jones Sawyer.
I, too, have known Mike for quite a while, and I knew Mike with the Democratic Party, as Secretary of the Democratic Party. I knew a lot of activists. Actually, I knew Mike's dad, who Mike we all just worked on Democratic politics things for quite some time. And his dad was a great Democrat. And then I got here and found out that Mike was not so much a great Democrat, but that's him. So I call him Dr. No, my aisle mate here, because he votes no quite a bit on the floor. And whenever any of my bills come up, I always got to hear, so which Charles Manson family are we letting out with this bill now? And so he's always giving me a hard time, and I'm always giving him a hard time. And even when he was with the Probst chair, we battled, like many of us in this room, battled a lot. On whether or not he changed our bills or whether or not it didn't get through. It was a magical mystery tour going through the Assembly of Probst at that time. It wasn't until I got to really know Mike. One day, as some of us do, we go and have kind of a Bible study on Wednesday morning. And one morning, I kind of go down, and there's no one in the room, and there's a note on the door, go to this other room. So I go to the other room, and I walk in. It's the pastor, and it's Mike. So I wasn't sure if I was in the wrong heaven or what, but I looked, and Mike was there with his Bible, and he was reading it, and we spent about 45 minutes. And I learned more about Mike in those 45 minutes, kind of talking through some Bible verses and things of that nature. I learned more about his love of his family and of his father and his love of this Capitol, love of what we do here, and that he genuinely has not only a good heart, but a great heart at what we do here. And even though I may disagree, I know that it didn't come from a place that I thought was not good. It really was from a good place. And if I had not stumbled into that room that day, I probably wouldn't have been able to change my mind about Mike. And I think this year, probably the first year he ever voted yes for one of my bills. And I think it attributed to the fact that we actually got to know one another, and we actually got to know where our true heart is. And so I wish you luck wherever you go, and hopefully you keep in touch, because you're the lion of the assembly right now. Thank you.
Let's go Mr. Wilk next, and then Ms. Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. One of the things I love about you is just, your sense of humor and how you like to play. And you're obviously great at math because you've got every single angle down in this chamber where you can stand and you're not in the screen, and you can make us laugh. And I've always enjoyed that. I have no idea why we're not playing legislative bingo today. That's on you. You dropped the ball. Very disappointed. But having said that, you're tenacious. You're always well prepared. Most things that happen on this floor are pro forma. When you speak, I know I listen. I've changed I don't know how many votes, being convinced by your arguments, which I appreciate. And you're tenacious. So whether it's issues like working with you back in the San Fernando Valley on behalf of all the victims of the Aliso Canyon gas leak, or I guess it was last year when on privacy you locked us all down in committee because you didn't get the votes you wanted for the Dr. Weber body cam bill, and we were there about 40 minutes, and then my friend from San Jose capitulated to you. I guess he had a flight to catch. But you do what you think's right, and you never stop. And I know you're leaving here, but I know there's great things before you. I'm looking forward to see everything you do for the people of California. It's been an honor to serve with you.
Thank you, Ms. Wilk. Ms. Gonzalez.
So I'll be quick because I actually would love to make it home to my kids today, and I know you would too. But I remember once somebody had said to me, well, you know, Mike Gatto, he's always the smartest guy in the room. And I said, I know, but he really is. And they said, yeah, kind of, right? So I'm going to miss you. Your intelligence and ability to communicate that is amazing. You're a great father. I love to watch you with your girls and how much love you have for them and the example you're setting for them. And on a personal note, you've been a great mentor for me. So if you guys are unhappy with appropriations, you can just say I learned from the best. But you really have. It's not an easy job. You did it well, and I want to thank you for sitting down and trying to help me figure out how that's supposed to work. I know you're headed for big things. I'm proud to support you in the future in whatever you do. You're always a stand-up guy who keeps his word and is willing to look at the nuance of things. So thank you for your service and good luck in the future.
Thank you, members. With that, Mr. Gatto, the floor is yours.
I want to thank everybody for that wonderful adjourned memory for my career. I think I speak for all of the termed out members that we wish the speeches would go on longer so we would remain relevant for a little longer. Mr. Dababneh, thank you very much for the kind words. I'm just glad you didn't say to me some of the things you said to Nora. Let's see, Ian, to get the record straight, the reason why the people signed that form is because you're so good looking. See, Mr. Jones Sawyer, I vote no on your bill sometimes because you are to the left of Mao. Or maybe Trotsky, I don't know. No, I love you. I love each and every one of you. You know, Mr. Dababneh told this story well. Almost 7 years ago, a guy who thought he had no chance of winning a seat in the assembly actually won. And I am so grateful to the voters for their faith in me, and so grateful to have served with each and every one of you, because I've learned so much from each and every one of you in my time here. When I got elected, this state was a different place. Governor Schwarzenegger was governor. We had a budget rule that required a 2/3 vote, and we were locked in this chamber till October, if not November, that year. And I spent many nights with a lot of different people, and it was very, very interesting stuff. I also want to apologize to all of you. I want to apologize for not being more social over the years. Some of you know I have my kids up here with me. It didn't always mean that I could attend all of your events and all those things. Just know I wanted to be there. You know, we all make sacrifices when we get elected. For me, I feel like my family, my wife Danielle, my daughter Eliana, my second daughter Evangelina, that they have given so much to me. They are my everything. And so I always try to spend as much time as I can with them, and I know that means that I often haven't been there for all of you, and I really am sorry about that. And I hope that I get more free time in the next couple of years and that I can spend some good time with you. I want to thank my staff. I know you all know in this building how good my staff is because all you all are trying to poach them. And some of you have been successful so far, but they are just terrific people. I mean, I have been so blessed to have my staff work for me over the years. The things that they've been able to accomplish and how good they make me look, even when I wouldn't otherwise look good, is something that I am forever grateful for. I get asked a lot about my philosophy. Some of you have pointed out that it's a little bit eclectic. The only thing I want to say about that is my philosophy could best be summed up in a billboard, I guess. If you're driving outside of Seattle, there's this really weird billboard, and people who've been there know what I'm talking about. It's on their equivalent of the 405 freeway. It's this really, really busy road. It's always congested. As you drive down this highway, the billboard says, "You are not stuck in traffic." And as you sit there in bumper-to-bumper traffic, you know, you kind of get a little angry. And you drive a little farther down the road, and there's another billboard, and it says, "You are traffic." Folks, it starts with us. It starts with us. If you want to be, if you want a change to occur, you need to be the change that you want to occur. It starts with you. It's one thing to blame everybody else, to blame traffic, but you got to realize that all of us have a role in it too, and that we can all be agents for profound change. I know I've been a little bit intense over the years. For a long time there, I was struggling just to be, I didn't want my tenure to be remembered as the answer to a tragic trivia question. I wanted to be remembered for my legislation and not what happened to me during my time in office. So I know I pushed my bills pretty hard, but I did that because I wanted to accomplish things for the people of the state, and I know all of you share in the same thing. And lastly, the pronunciation of my last name. I'm just thankful that you call me a friend and that you don't call me jerk. So thank you very much, everybody.